stop relying on the protein bars to solve all of your problems. These extreme cravings, and then we don't know how to fight it. We don't know how to recover for it. We go for some chips after dinner, then we have some cookies, then we're into the gummy bears, and then we go to bed. We wake up the next morning and we're like, okay, why does that happen? There are a number of reasons why that happens, but I want you to know there is nothing wrong with you, and we're going to cover the biggest reasons, the biggest things that I see and that I went through myself when it comes to this emotional binge eating, and how to actually move away from those things. So I'm not really a breakfast person anyway. I mean, breakfast makes me just feel so sick. I've never really been much of a breakfast person, but one thing that is a non-negotiable for me is a protein bar, and it fills me up, and protein is just so good for me, right? So, I really just try and get a lot of protein in during the day. I try my best. These protein bars, and then I have like a salad. What else do I have? Sometimes I have an apple. Other times I have like hummus and veggies, like cut up raw vegetables, like little cute matchsticks, and I dip them in the hummus. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why every single afternoon I feel like I crave chocolate. I crave all of the chips. And I just, it's this weird time before dinner and I just can't stop snacking. And then dinner rolls around and I'm not even that hungry anymore. And, I have some dinner because I've made it for the family. And then it's just like, after that, the wheels come off. I don't know how to control it. I don't know what to do. I don't know why it happens, but I'm not even eating one cookie anymore. I'm eating like, not one or two. I'm eating one or two rows of the cookies. I'm eating everything in sight, and I don't know how to stop. I don't know how to control it. And I feel like it's emotional. I feel like it's emotional eating, but I can't pinpoint why or how to stop this, why I'm doing it. And I just need some help. Okay, it's actually pretty good. It doesn't have a lot of protein in it though. So please stop relying on the protein bars to solve all of your problems. For those of you who don't know, my name is Lucy Dunne. I'm the founder of Dunne, which is an online personal training company, and we're here to talk about emotional eating. If you don't know my story, I highly recommend you stop watching this video, head back to that one first, because it's all about my journey. It's all about my weight loss journey, but it's also about my recovery into binge eating and how I struggled for so many years. And binge eating and emotional eating, in my opinion, are very closely tied. One of the biggest reasons that we do binge is because of our emotions, and because there's certain levels inside of our system that are off, our hormones. It leads to this extreme cravings, and then we don't know how to fight it. We don't know how to recover for it. And so this video is all about emotional eating, why it happens, and how we can actually get a handle on it. And I'm just so excited to share this because it needs to be talked about. And when you Google it, it's a bunch of like dietitians in suits and people that, they have the facts, they have maybe the scientific evidence of why we do these things and what we should, do to stop. But like, where's the real person in this? Where's the real person that's been through it, that is here to tell you it's hard and it sucks, but it will get better. And I promise you, it will get better with a little bit of help, a little bit of work, a little bit of step in the right direction. And before you know it, you can have this life where you don't get to 3 p.m. and you're reaching for the chocolate. You don't get to 7 p.m. and you finish dinner and you can't stop eating chips. You will get to that place, and I promise you it's possible for you. So in this video, I'm going to cover the number one thing that I see that happens around emotional eating, because there are a number of reasons. It varies in terms of how this emotional eating happens, or everybody's story is a little bit different. But the biggest thing that I'm seeing when it comes to emotional eating is this: it happens late at night. Emotional eating for some people happens in the morning, but for the majority of the population, the emotional eating is happening in the evening. 7 p.m., 8 p.m. And the reason for this is because by then you're tired, your nerves are shot, your decision making is fatigued. We only have so much that we can give in a day as humans. And so when it comes to this time of night, we have just been dealing with so many other things that when it gets to this place, our body actually, it's not even you. There's nothing wrong with you, I promise you. Your body's looking for something. Your brain is searching for things that feel good, for things that it doesn't have to think too hard about, for things that's going to make it happy. And that's often where this emotional emotional eating happens, especially if we are triggered by an event that causes us some discomfort, makes us sad, makes us angry. We're even more so turning to those things because this is a trigger. It's triggering that emotional eating. And then when that happens for a few nights in a row, for example, we go for some chips after dinner, then we have some cookies, then we're into the gummy bears, and then we go to bed, we wake up the next morning and we're like, okay, not going to do that again. But then it happens and we're like, how? I told myself that I wasn't going to do that again. And here I am losing all willpower. We blame ourselves. We feel guilty. And it's this cycle that we cannot stop. Why does that happen? There are a number of reasons why that happens, but I want you to know there is nothing wrong with you. And we're going to cover the biggest reasons, the biggest things that I see and that I went through myself when it comes to this emotional binge eating and how to actually move away from those things. And this is the fun part. It's not anything catastrophic. There's nothing absolutely life-altering, gonna rock your world that is going to take place to make these changes. These are things that you can start doing like tonight. If you're watching this video and you're thinking, okay, how am I gonna go? I have to go out and buy these things. I have to write this down. I have to get ready. No, it's none of that. You don't need to prepare for this. This is something you can start doing right away. And that's the best thing because you can actually make these steps to move away from the emotional eating and feel empowered by food, feel in control by food. And most importantly, we can eat the fun foods. You can have them in the house. And I know for a lot of you, that's a big game changer. So I was talking about how it's not your fault that you're emotionally eating. And I really do mean this. One of the biggest reasons that I see, especially for women when it comes to emotional eating, is that we're on some sort of diet, whether it's diet culture. And so it's this, diet that maybe it's not the actual food we're dieting on, but for whatever reason, we have these thoughts in our mind circulating day in, day out. So we're technically like still on some form of a diet because we're hearing these things. It's this toxic behavior. For the other large majority of people, especially women, we actually are on some sort of diet. So we're restricting our food, we're cutting a food group like carbs, we're doing something like fasting where we know we only have a certain window to eat. We've got these rules, these restrictions, and all of these things around our food to deal with every single day. So what happens is that you get exhausted by that. It's really hard to maintain it. But on top of that, so picture that as your base layer. It's hard to maintain these things. But then we pile on top of that what your body actually needs in terms of food to feel satisfied. This comes in the form of calories. So when we're in this restricted spot, your body is going to do everything in its power, and it is powerful. It is so strong. It's going to do whatever it can to get high amount of calories in so that it can feel safe, so that it can feel like it's taken care of. Hence, we get to 7 p.m., 8 p.m., our guard comes down. We go for these foods that are extremely high in calories to quickly satisfy us. It's not your fault. It's happening time and time again because then your body knows that feels good. That saved me. That was a nice reward for all of this dieting that I've been doing in the day. And then it comes to that time the next night, really hard to stop because you're in this cycle. Your body wants to keep you safe. It wants to keep you happy and it needs more calories. So start by eating a little bit more, and that frequency and that strength behind the urges to binge, it will lower after time. The other thing that I'm seeing time and time again, and I shouldn't laugh, but it's just, I'm laughing because it happened to me so much and I messed this up more than you could even imagine. And I messed it up for years in my system. And it was all about my hunger cues. So I was binging a lot of the time, and my binge episodes would start when I wasn't even hungry. Like, I've just eaten a huge dinner. I'm trying to satisfy myself, but I'd done so much damage to my actual cues in trusting my body of when it is hungry, when it's satisfied, when it needs something else. Like, I was so, if we picture my hunger cues and everything that my body is like designed to do here, I'm like over here playing in my own little sandbox, just trying to like get by and survive. And so they were completely separate. There was no trust there. There was no trust from my body. There was no trust from my mind around food. And so we really have to come home to these things. So taking a step, if we're picturing these two sandboxes, taking a step closer every single day just to pay attention to your hunger cues, to actually eat when you're hungry instead of saying no to food, to actually maybe listen to what's going on. Like, if your body's telling you it needs something or it's craving something, let's actually just have that instead of depriving it, so we can learn to trust our body, and our body can say, hey, when I deliver these hunger cues, this person, they're going to listen to me for once. This is all about emotional eating for a reason. Emotions being the driving factor. So I want you to have a think, and you can put this in the comments below. because sometimes it helps to like feel it out and think about it and actually type something, because then you're like, okay, I feel like I actually know what's going on here. So when you're emotional, when something sad happens, or when you're dealing with some stress in your life, put in the comments, what are some things that you turn to? But then what I want you to do is also put in the comments, what are some things that make you happy? So when we think about, when you're laughing, when we think about when you feel completely refreshed and rejuvenated, what are some of these things? Drop those in the comments, because what we're going to do is we're taking what we normally do for emotions and handling them and dealing with them. Stress, we add alcohol, then we add food, then we add just like binging on TV shows and numbing out. Let's think about some other things that make us truly happy. And they can be as simple as, reading a book, going for a walk, calling a friend. They can be whatever actually bring you joy, whatever actually makes you happy. And then I want you to make a list of those things, because what we're going to try and do here is go away from the strong urges to deal with the food side of things when we're emotional. And we're just going to make a small switch, and we're going to do something that brings you just as much joy, because what you're telling your body, what you're telling your system is that you have a toolkit. And sometimes you can turn to food. I'm not saying that when you're emotional, you never grab a bag of chips and devour the whole thing and you're like, okay, that felt good. I just needed to cry it out and watch Sex and the City and devour a bag of chips. I'm not saying that that cannot happen. But what we want to get away from is that that's the only way that we know how to deal with things, because then the emotional eating part, it will just never go away. I don't want to sugarcoat it for you. I want to be blunt. I want to be real. Find some other things that bring you happiness, that bring you joy, that give you that fulfillment. And then let's try a few of those things when you're stressed, when you're emotional, and when you're feeling those same feelings. Just see how they go. We're going to talk about it. I know you don't want to, but we're going to. It's about weight loss. And it's about weight loss and emotional eating. These things go together really well, because as someone who lost a lot of weight, and you can find about that more in my story, I get emotional talking about it, because it's just like, it's still very real for me. It's still there. I still remember it just like it was yesterday. I was so obsessed with trying to lose weight that when I would have an emotional eating episode, it was like a compound effect of all of the negative things came up all at once. And so what I really want to encourage you to do is try your very best to take this weight loss piece and just peel it back a little bit. I'm not saying weight loss can't be your goal. I'm not saying that you're not going to feel your best at a lower weight, when your body fat percentage is a little bit less, when you are moving your body, when you're drinking water, you're getting enough sleep, you're eating healthy food. These things are a lot. They're a lot to handle. They're a lot to handle for people who have been experts at them for years. And the tricky part is what we know in our mind to be true, what we know as statistics and evidence, it doesn't always go over to what you can actually do as a human, because that's just it. You are a human. And so we need to just peel this weight loss piece back a little bit. Take it off your shoulders as being so heavy, because what that will do is, if you do have one of these episodes, you are then not thinking to yourself, well, that's why I'm never losing weight. That's why I'm such a failure. That's why I can't achieve my goals. I said all these things and so many more horrible things to myself, but we have to just let it go as much as we can, because if you're making your best effort, if you're doing all of these things, it will slowly start to get better, and you will start to have less and less emotional eating episodes. You'll start to realize that you are so much more than just a number on the scale, and you are so much more than just losing weight. Like, there's so much more that you've got to offer this world, and I just can't wait for you to experience that. And so, to summarize this piece, weight loss, oh my gosh, it's just like, it's everywhere. Everywhere we look, we're conditioned to think about it, to breathe it, to live it. It's just time to let that go a little bit. Focus on something else. What are some other goals that you want to achieve? What are some other things that are important to you when it comes to your health? Let's think about those things. Let's put them at the top of the priority list. And as you go day in, day out, working towards those things, it will all get a little bit easier. I promise you. Emotional eating is a loaded topic, and I just hope that this video was helpful for you. If it was, please give it a like. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. That means the world to me. Oh, and I can't let you go before this final tip. Screw the times. Screw the time of day that you think you should be saving the chips for. Screw the time of day that you think you shouldn't be able to eat carbs. Whatever these weird rule things that you have in your head are, let them go. Eat chips whenever you want. Eat chocolate whenever you want. If it makes you happy, just eat it. Because here's the thing, I bet you will be less likely to emotional eat the things that you are depriving yourself of if you just have them at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Cheers. And if you are feeling extra generous today and maybe this video was helpful for you, I bet you there's someone you know that it's also going to be helpful for. And this can be a really nice way to just slide that in. Maybe there's a friend or a family member who is struggling with something like emotional eating. Now you just have a nice video of this wild Australian talking with her hands and you're like, here, she was entertaining, go and watch this. And I've actually, you could share the things that you've taken from this video with them and maybe it will help them as well. So that would just be the gravy on top of the beautiful mashed potatoes. I'm having potatoes tonight, so they're clearly on my mind, but I would just really appreciate it if you shared it with somebody who needs it. And also don't forget to subscribe. I think I already said that, but that's just like amazing. You're amazing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making it so far through this video. If you need anything, put it in the comments below. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to help, and I'm just so thankful for you. Thanks for tuning in. I can't wait to see you next week.